Okay, today's class is Advanced Matrix for Jumpstart Training, and I'm Carolyn Geiger, and I'll be your trainer today. And what we are going to accomplish is I'm going to go over some tips, trips, and tricks, and tips, and some cool stuff to help you use the matrix a little bit better. And I would also like to know what I can do to help you. So other than I don't know anything, because I know there's a couple of you that haven't used this a lot, would there be any specific questions that somebody would really like to get out of this class today? Something they're struggling with knowing how to do? Anything I can help you with? Yes?
I've been doing it for a long time, but there's one report that it's just in columns. I don't know how to pull those. You know, it's no pictures, nothing. It's just a single line columns.
A single line display?
Yes.
So how to print a single line display?
Well, no, it's how to get the statistic reports in single line display. I know how to get them, but it's always got pictures and all that. I don't know how to just do that. You know, like if you're running a fast CMA, you just want the lines, you don't want all the other junk.
Okay. See, now that's going to put Mason's going to be up there for the whole video. Okay, anything else?
I'd like to know more about the hot sheets.
Okay. Next.
I don't know how to explain it. Down at the bottom when you pull up listings, and I watched you do it the other day. Remember when I said, how did you do that? When you deleted ones? Just show, let's talk more about the options that are available down in that lower left-hand corner of the things that you can do to, I guess, manipulate your list.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's called narrowing. Yeah, narrowing and excluding. All right, anything else?
Reverse prospecting.
Okay. Okay, we'll start with that. If you think of anything else, we'll add it to the board, and I'll make sure that I get all of this covered during class. Okay, so when you log into the matrix, just lost my cheat sheet. The first thing I kind of want you to know is that these boxes can actually be moved around. So if you didn't, you want something like your MarketWatch to be front and center, you can also hide. So if you don't care about the recent portal visitors, you can hit the little down arrow button and it'll expand or contract those menu items. And just kind of get things in the right order that you like them. Here's your hot sheets and your stats. So this is pretty cool. The next thing is, and I always get somebody with this one, is that when you open a search, let's say you're doing a search and it's in the, you're doing something in the Liberty area, and all of a sudden you get a call, and you don't want to mess up the search that you just did, but now somebody's calling you, asking you to look up a listing, maybe it's a buyer call on the other line. You don't want to lose what you're working on. You can, and this works not just in the matrix, but almost any website. You can right-click the link of where you want to go. So if I wanted to do another search, I can right-click the quick residential search and open that link in a new tab or open it in a new window. If I open it in a new tab, I now have two matrix screens working at the same time. I don't have to log in and log out of what I was doing. And you can have as many tabs as you would like. So here now I have 3 tabs working at the exact same time. So hopefully that helps somebody out.
Yes.
And that's true of, like even on .loop, it'll work on .loop as well. Not every single menu will it work, but it will work on, like if you go back to loops, you can actually have 2 things of .loop running at the same time. I would recommend working in the same loop in 2 separate screens at the same time, but you can certainly have a loop for listing A and a loop for buyer B open on 2 different tabs. And any website really, if you want to stay where you're at, but you want the link to open in another tab, right click and open another tab. Opening it in another window will give you 2 functional tabs at the bottom. So instead of being tabbed at the top, which I'm sorry, this is hard to read because I've got it shrunk down, or it's just not going to show. You'll have 2 windows when you, here. Tabs are easier. So I just want you guys to know that. The next thing, and I know that basic matrix class will teach you this, but do go into My Matrix and then go to your settings. We have new headers and footers that are available that have the new KW logos on them. And they all should have been defaulted to a header or a footer, but if you want to choose one, all you need to do is click the header or footer link, and it will actually take you to where you can see every single header that is available. That way, when people look at your client reports, this is what will be printed on the top of the page or visible on the top of the page. And there's all the Keller Williams ones. So if you don't want to print all gray, if you're printing out forms for them, you can do the white one, white background one, and use less ink, obviously. If you want it to look a little nicer, you can pick one of the others. So just know that those are there for you. Just make sure that your email signature is up to date. I'm actually going to change that. Okay, so once you're done with that, if we go back home, I'm going to start with just a basic search and just show you a couple little things. Map search. There's 2 ways to actually do that. The last upgrade that they did, there's a map link over here on the right-hand side. There you can also click the map link search. Either way, you're going to get to the same exact place. Here is your map. You can scroll in or scroll out. I find the best map to use is the polygon. So you're going to click this draw polygon shape. And you're just going to click once, drag the mouse, click again, drag the mouse, click again, drag the mouse, click again, drag the mouse. If you need to go in or out, you can still do that without affecting your shape. And you can get as specific as you would like. This is especially helpful if you're trying to mimic a school district. Because as we know, agents aren't really awesome at disclosing elementary schools, junior highs, middle schools, and high schools even.
Not very awesome at mapping.
Right. Yeah, that's true. And so sometimes you have to manipulate that by drawing the school district boundary yourself on the MLS map so that you make sure that you're seeing the listings that are actually in that area, assuming, of course, that the listing agent has actually set the pin correctly on where the map is located or where the house is located. To do that, if you go to the input screen after you have input a listing, and you just open the residential listing, you'll notice on the very first page, and this is the input screen on MLS, you can plot it from address or plot it manually. So if you pick plot from address, it'll physically put the pin where Google thinks it should be, but you might double check it and plot it manually and just make sure that it's actually on the house it's supposed to be on. Because sometimes every once in a while, and especially if it's newer construction, Google will put it somewhere just where it does not belong. And if somebody is doing a map-based search and your pin is showing on the south side of town, which sometimes happens in new construction especially, happened to me, and you don't manually set your pins where they need to be, then that agent is not going to find you when they do a map search. You'll also see that when you do a CMA, and you're doing your CMA based on a radius of the house, and then all of a sudden it's like you're doing CMA in Liberty and here's a house in Lee Summit. You're like, what the heck is that doing in there? Oh, it's because somebody didn't map right. So they've got a listing in there that doesn't map correctly. So make sure when you're listing that you absolutely check those map pins, and you can actually, move this little pin around wherever you would like, and then save it. Pretty cool. So just know that that is there. Secondly, once you've added in a list of criteria, let's say you've got a list of properties, and you're looking through the list and you decide, oh gosh, this one's a raised, story and a half. My client isn't going to like that one. This is what Dawn was asking me to do, is the refine and narrow. So let's say I've got this list and I want to print out these 4. I can just click each one and say print and it would be fine, but I can also refine this list by hitting this refine button right down here. When I do that, I can narrow the field so that only those 4 units show. And then I can print this out or email it or do whatever. If I'm also looking at a list, and let's say I did that by accident. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. You can come up here, these are your breadcrumbs. Hit original results and this will put it back for you.
And could I click one and just hit discard?
You could. I could discard the rest of them and just leave this one.
Okay. Oh shoot, darn.
Right? So you can go back and forth on this.
I already hit undiscard.
Right. That is right. Okay? So that's how to use the refinement. Let's show you how to use the cards. Every single person, once you have put them in as a contact into Matrix, which I will do right now, I'll show you how to do that. I come down here and click Add. You add in your client's information and save it. Now, let's say I'm doing a search for that client and I want to find some homes for them to look at. I'm going to come into the matrix and let's say that this client's interested in looking at, Liberty, and they're interested in Park Hill schools, and they're really specific and they're looking for something that, you can't just do one search and pull up a list. That maybe they're open to 3 or 4 bedrooms, but 3 bedrooms only but has a finished basement, or they could do a 2 or 3 car garage, but the 3rd car garage would have to be around back or detached, or something like that, where you've got to do multiple searches to find properties that might fit the needs of a client. So I call that freelancing the MLS. And so let's say I'm doing that and I'm looking at property, and I'm looking through my list and I go, ooh, there's one in Claremont North, that one works. I can click it, come down to carts, and then find my cart. add to. Now you'll see my cart has one in it. So now, let's say I go back to my criteria, and I'm gonna look for something different. Ooh, there's one in this place. She'll like that one, she'll like this one, she'll like that one. And I wanna put that in the cart. I just click the properties, get the cart up, and add to. Now you can see I have 4 in the cart. So now when I'm all done and I'm ready to print this list, because I didn't get these from just one search, I can now view the cart, and all of the properties that I just picked are here in one spot. From here, I can do a print or email or do whatever I want to do with these listings. This is also really, really super handy when you're doing a CMA, especially for that property that might not just have like 8 of the same like kind and within a half a mile, where you've got to maybe do a little bit of hunting and pecking to find like comps. This is a really nice thing. I'll just create a client contact that just says, you know, Northbrook Communities CMA, save that as my client with my email address, doesn't matter, and then just dump everything that I'm looking at for comparables into that cart. Then when I'm done, my cart will have everything available that I found that was comparable, and then I can run all of my summary reports and CMA reports from there. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's pretty cool.
Is there a way for you to easily pull that cart into your CMA report for those?
Yes.
Or do you have to physically write down each MLS?
No. I can actually go right here and see right down here, this blue button, there's the CMA. So this will take you right to the CMA widget, and then you can create your CMA off of those 4 listings if you wanted to. Yes, that's a very cool thing. I like it a lot. Now, if you would like to easily find the carts, you can simply go to the contacts, and you see the little shopping cart icon here on the right-hand side. This will show you the carts, so you can pull them up at any time. So if I wanted to see the carts that's in this person's, the properties that are in this person's cart, then I can pull it up right here, and there it is. And the client cannot see their cart. It is only private to you. So it's not like the client can see any of that unless you email it to them. But they're still not going to see the cart. They're just going to see the email that you emailed them some properties. Okay. Questions about the cart? Anything there? All right. Questions about the map search? There's different ways to do that map search. You can do the circle and do a radius. You can do a rectangle. And in fact, you can even exclude an area. So if the client likes a whole big spot except for this one particular area, you can put a map around it and exclude that shape. That'll turn that area red and it won't show up. Any listings in that little area won't show. That's kind of handy. You can also jump to an address or a county if you need to by going to this jump to right here. You can also set up the map to show a default location. You can do that with the settings button right here. So whatever view you have showing, that's the view that you will always see when you open the map search. So if you tend to work in a certain area more than others and you want it to be more Clay County focused or Platte County focused or just north of the river instead of the whole city, then you can get the view where you want it and then come over here and set that as the default. And then you don't have to keep jacking around with it every time. Okay. Next, let's talk about the stat reports. So I think if I'm understanding correctly, what you would like to see is a report with just the statistics and no property pictures, right?
Right.
Okay. two ways to do that. Number one, let me pull up a CMA. Doesn't work. Okay, so here's my properties. And now I want to do a CMA report off of it. Number one way to do it is after you've selected the properties, go to the Stat button right down here. Click it, hit Tabular. Is this what you're looking for?
Okay.
Is that
Yes.
it?
Tabular?
Is that what you're looking for?
Yes.
It is, okay, good. So this will show you, just in a quick view, that there's 3 active properties, the average sales price is $174, there's 1 pending at $189, 1 on Shipperback was for $169, there's been 8 sold at an average list price of $171, and average sales price of $166.
This is the stats for the CMA that you, for the
That I
properties
pick.
that you pick.
That I pick, yeah. Yep, average days on market are 82. So this is just a very simple way, just if you just want to do a quick view, okay, what's the average? That's a nice way to be able to do it. Another way to do this is to select your properties, hit the print button, go to print reports. There's 2 tabs of print displays that you can choose from. Go to the Market Conditions Addendum. Select Print to PDF. And here is exactly the same report, it's just formatted a little differently. The thing that I do like about this particular report is that it gives you the list price to sales price ratio. So of those 13 properties, the average list price altogether is 173 with a get price of 166. That means that we're getting a 97% list price to sales price ratio for these particular listings. So Mr. Seller, if you're willing to, let me give you a script for that. So Mr. Seller, if you're willing to price at an average sales price of 173 instead of 180, then you will get 97% of your sales price if you list correctly. That means that you should be selling for 166. At the bottom of this report, it also shows you the absorption rates. I don't really use that very much, but if you needed to, it's here. If I use this report, it's just a cheating way to get the percentage to print it on a piece of paper to get to my seller. Between these 2 print displays and print reports, there's a lot of different ways that you can print property. One of my other favorite ones is the photo gallery. The photo gallery will take every picture from every listing that you selected and print it 6 on a page. It's an ink killer if you're going to print off pictures of the listings to maybe show your seller. It's something that I do when I do a CMA, because pictures speak 1,000 words, and especially if you're working with a seller that might be remodeling challenged, and maybe their place isn't as up to date as some of the others that are selling for a higher price. It helps to demonstrate to them that maybe their house is out of date, or it helps to demonstrate to you that houses that aren't updated are still selling for a good price. And so it's just an easy way to look through the pictures of the listings and just see how does yours compare.
Yeah, I clicked on my CMA and the only choices I have is start a new CMA, copy, or delete. I don't get the statistic one.
It's not on the CMA.
Yeah, but I chose one so I could do that with, but it didn't let me do it. It just gave me the choices of start a new CMA, copy CMA, or delete.
The statistic reports that I showed have nothing to do with the CMA widget.
Right, but I wanted to use those figures to get a statistic report. Isn't that what you did?
Yes, but it's not part of the CMA widget itself. It's a separate report. It's not part of the CMA.
Right, I was gonna use the
On MLS.
stuff to get the statistic report off of it, like you did, but it won't let me do it.
Okay, because we're filming and let me stop, I'll come back
Okay,
to that,
thank you.
yeah, okay. Because I can't show that on tape. Okay. So just know that there's a lot of different displays and know that there's actually 2 tabs. Also, tomorrow, on Wednesday, the 20th of August, there will be several updates to the matrix system. So I'll come back next month and then I'll teach to any of the new updates that are coming out. I can't show you any of them today because they're not here, but I did print out the guide if you guys want to know what's coming. It'll be up here, you guys can look through it. There's also a link to this guide on your MLS news feed that you can also look at. Some cool things that are happening is some upgrades to the portal, upgrades to reverse prospecting, and to the mapping, which is going to make it a little better interface for everyone. So I'm pretty excited about that stuff. I wish I could show it to you today, but I just can't. Okay. Okay, so hot sheets. So this is where you're going to customize your hot sheets. Your hot sheets is just nothing more than a predetermined search that's going to show you a little more detail. Like on your hot sheet, you can actually do price changes, pendings, a brand new listing. Like it's just formulated tags on a property. And if you save it as a default, then that will always be your default. Every time you click the hot sheet, that's what you'll be seeing. So if you're a person that really likes to see property that comes back on market after it's already been canceled, for example, and maybe you have a certain school district or area, you can set up a price point, you can set up a city, you can set up anything that you would like, set up a date of activity. So here's one that I would probably be interested in. I've got an Olathe client right now. An Olathe is in a hypermarket right now. It's 5 days or less on market, under 170,000. So if you have I don't want to say budget, because that 170 isn't necessarily budget minded, but for that area it kind of is. And you have a client that's specifically looking for a second full bath attached to the master. That's a little bit of a challenge right now. So if you know somebody has a house like that, go list it, it'll sell. But I want to maybe pay attention to back on market properties because maybe something had been taken and then it cancels, the financing falls through, even on inspections, maybe it's not that bad after all. So I want to know that. So I'm going to save this once I have my criteria set up, and then every time I click that hot sheet, it's going to show me any back on market properties in the last however many days it was that I asked for it to be.
So everybody's hot sheet is just personalized?
It's personalized, yes. You can make it whatever you want it to be.
How do you delete what you have in there?
You just go to the reset button right here.
Oh.
And then customize it again. And then it'll let you set it up from scratch. And this is really the only way that you can get the price changes, like you can't, because you can't search for a price change any other way. So you have to go to the hot sheet to get that.
When people say they call a lot of FSBOs or expires, is that typically how they find those?
Yeah, you can do that. There's also the MarketWatch, which is basically going to do the same thing for you. It just puts it into separate categories, and this can also be customized. So, and you can look at it for 24 hours today, 3 days, or 7 days just by clicking. This will just kind of give you the numbers of what's happening. So if I want to know today what's happened in my predetermined MarketWatch area, which I believe is Northland, then it'll show you that just today there's 6 that have been put under contract on backup, 8 new listings, 12 pending, 15 price changes, 1 back on market, 8 sold, 2 canceled. So if I want to look at any of these, I want to look at these canceled, then there you go. If I want to see the price changes, I can click those, and there you go. And weird, did you notice that just in those clicks, 2 more have gone ship or back up, and 2 more listings? Because it was 8 and 8, now it's 10 and 10. So you could really be fascinated by watching this every minute.
Okay, now wait a minute, your MarketWatch. On that, is there a pull-down menu that you can predetermine where your market
Right
is?
here,
Oh,
this
it's under that.
customize
Okay,
and
got it.
reset button, it runs this exactly the same way.
Where's the reset button at again?
Right there, reset.
I don't have that reset
I don't
button.
either.
Is it, I can't help you with that. I don't know.
We'll have to call somebody.
That's weird. I don't know what to say.
Okay.
You can, all you need to do is click the customize. Do you have that?
Yeah.
Okay, and then just come down to the bottom and clear your screen.
Okay.
I'm just really special.
I guess so.
That's so weird. Is it because of that?
I have a reset.
I don't have one either.
That is pretty weird.
Is it because your screen is
Maybe because,
small?
No.
I'm wondering if it's because if you don't have, like, I don't have anything set in mine right now. I don't know if you do or
have
not,
mine.
but there's no
Yeah, me too,
reset.
but I don't have one, I just have
I would think if you didn't have anything, you wouldn't have a button. But if you have something, I would think you have
I
a
don't
button.
even have a clear button.
So if you customize, you don't have a clear button down at the very bottom on the customize screen? Are you sure you
Yeah,
have
there's a clear button on the
Okay.
on mine.
some? Okay.
It's, if you click on customize, there's a clear button right
Not for much.
there. Uh-huh.
Oh, I see.
And of course, my best advice for that is, let's get you in touch with support. All right. So does that cover the questions on the market update and hot sheets? Okay, good. Oh, we're working right through these. Okay, next, my matrix, auto emails and saved searches. The difference is a saved search is just simply that. It's just a saved search. If at any time you want to look at a saved search that you've set up, you can come to the My Matrix saved search and then pull up that saved search. I have a client that's very interested in looking in the USDA area and wants ranches. So this is just an easy way that I've already set up this search. I have him on an auto email, but I don't really like to get a copy of an email every time he does. I just want to click in and click out and kind of see what's going on. So this is just a very easy way for me to pull up this search, look at the results, and anything that fits the criteria is going to come up for me. So here's all the properties that match that search. A auto email is where you set up a search and attach it to a client, and then that client gets automatic updates from you as if you sent them from the system, which is very nice. You can set it up as many to send immediately, or set it up on a daily basis or a weekly basis or a monthly basis. So how you would do that is, let's say I have a client that's really interested in Liberty, and we're looking for a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 3-car garage, and a finished basement. I'm going to result that, and it's going to give me the list of potential properties. If I go to save, I get new save search and new auto email. If I go to new save search, that's just going to save the search so that I can go back on my own in the My Matrix and look at the saved searches. Now you actually can save 10 of your saved searches to show here it is on your front screen. So here I have a list of searches that I can easily just pop right into them, right from my home screen. To do that, when I save it, it will give me this option right here to enable it as a favorite search on Home tab, and you can have 10 maximum. If I just name it Liberty and enable it, and then hit save, now if I go to my home screen and refresh, there's my search right there. If I want to save this for a client, I'm going to hit New Auto Email. And I can either pick a client that I've already created, or I can create a new client right from the screen. So I don't have to go to the contacts first and add them. Whatever you type in here is what they're going to see every single time they get an update from you. So don't put like, it was great to meet you today, because then that's what they're going to see every single time. So I usually just put, here's your updates for today, or just something very simple, stupid. Some clients don't even pick up that this is automated. They think you're actually doing it. And then they think, oh, you sent me that listing, You can have one contact attached to the search, and if you have a husband and wife that also wants to be copied in, you can just simply add the emails in the CC, and you can separate them with commas if you have more than one email. If you want to blind copy yourself, you can also do that as well. Then once you come down here, you're going to notice that there's an ability to allow contacts to view a custom full display. And what that does is you allow them to see the full plus, and they can see the additional remarks. So if the listing agent has the initial remarks at the top, then there's always that second section of remarks that allow your client to see that additional information and just a little more details and within the listing itself. So I usually do that unless I'm setting this up for a client that has not yet committed to me, which is very rare. I don't generally put somebody on an auto search that hasn't already met me and signed a buyer agency. I will send a group of listings to somebody just to kind of like, hey, I can send you some listings, see if anything, trips your trigger, or I might set them up on a weekly or something like that. But take value that you invested money to get your license, to pay your dues to KCRAR, to MAR, to NAR, all of that stuff, and dues to MLS. So don't give out that information that's specific so freely. Use your own website if you want to do that, but I think when you customize a search with an MLS, that's your value proposition. Hey, I know you're really looking for something in in-law quarters, and you just can't search for that on a regular website. Using an agent like me, I can set that search up for you so that you're only seeing properties with in-laws quarters. So, come in, do a consultation, sign with me, and I will set you up on that search. To get you started, I'll send you a couple just so you can see that I know what I'm doing. But after that, I would like for you to come in the office, let's meet, and then we'll go from there. Okay? So that's how I would handle that. All right. You can also make this available for reverse prospecting. And what that means is that a listing agent who might have an in-law quarters, if that was the search that I was doing, let's say they're listing something with that certain criteria, they can search against the searches that you have saved as buyer's agents and then send you an email. Overland Park agents rock at reverse prospecting. I every time I have a Johnson County client, I will get nailed with emails. We have a match, look what I've got. You know, all of the stuff, they're very, very good at reverse prospecting. Northland isn't so good. I get emails every once in a while from people, and it's not the easiest thing to do, but it will be once this update gets done. So where it'll make it a lot easier to be able to do a reverse prospect. I'll show you that and explain why. So if you don't want the additional advertising to yourself, then you can unclick this box. If I have a true hot to trot client that's like ready to get in the car and ready to buy something, I'm gonna allow the reverse prospecting, because you never know when I might get an advance notice on a price drop or something, because somebody knows I might have a client that fits that criteria. And I'll get an extra email that might give me just that little bit of a competitive edge if the listing agent wants to email me. If you don't, then just uncheck it. You can also schedule properties to be ASAP or daily. And if it's daily, you can actually choose how often they're actually emailed. I will actually make this seem a little random, so it does feel like it's coming out at different times, and it's not just the same thing every morning at 8:33 you're getting an email. So I'll just kind of crisscross it, maybe twice in a day, once in another day, and think about this. If you are time blocking, like I time block, Fridays are my day off. It's just like I try very hard not to come into this office. It's just, that is my day to decompress and relax. Doesn't mean I won't work, but I really try hard not to. And so therefore, none of my clients will get an email Thursday night showing them what listings just hit the market. I manipulate that search so that they get it Friday afternoon. So that way I don't get that call or that email at 10 o'clock on Thursday evening, hey, we really want to look at this property today. If they get that email on Friday evening, we can certainly set it up for Saturday, that's fine. If I have a client that absolutely cannot find what they're looking for, then I probably would allow that to happen, because it might be more important to get them in the property if it's a competitive situation, like I'm feeling that way about the Olathe people. Because if we don't get there the first day, it's probably gonna be gone. But otherwise, if I'm just setting up an average search for somebody that has, medium motivation, they're not getting that on my day, on the night before my day off. Make sense? You can also set it up monthly. You can also use this search for things like your sellers, to inform them when a listing comes on the market in their neighborhood. So that way you're not having to send it to them and manipulating that search every single week. You can automatically set it up, have it sent it to them weekly, or have them send it to them monthly. And here's the latest updates of everything that's gone on the market in the last couple of weeks, or the last week, or here's what's gone under contract, here's what's sold. And it'll automatically.
Can you do also the under contracted sold?
Yes,
yeah.
And you just do that by when you select your search, you just pick those criteria. Yeah. Okay, so once you've done it and you hit save, that will now email your client and let them know that a search has been saved for them. And then they are going to see what I call the portal. When I set up a portal for somebody for the very first time and we're doing a buyer consultation in the office, then I am, I haven't visited early. Then I'm actually going to open the portal and show them how to use it. You can look over their shoulder by simply going to, and I'm sorry, let me just slow that down. My Matrix, auto emails, you're gonna get this screen, find your client. Once you find them, expand the menu, and then open in portal will open that search in the client view. Results will open it up in your view, so that you can see full details of the listing. If you need to change the criteria of that search, like they bump up the price, you can go to criteria and then reset the search as well. If you need to change the frequency of when they're getting those updates, that will take you back to this screen so that you can change how often your client is getting updates from the system. Okay, so if I go to the portal and I open in portal, this is what they're going to see. So I show them how to, click the links, that they can sort by price, that they can sort by area. I might tell them about what the areas mean if they're looking at multiple MLS areas, just to help them organize their search a little bit if they're going to drive by the properties first especially. That they can click the MLS link and that'll take them, here's how to look at all the pictures, here's how to put them all on one page. I also want to show them the virtual earth map, and I want them to understand that when they see a property, they can scroll in and up here, spin around. So that way they can double check, is the backyard facing a highway? Is it facing a power plant? Is there a big, ugly, junkyard back there? And they can eliminate or include listings that they know they want to see based on being able to do the drive-by in the air. It'll just save them some time, and it'll save you some time from driving up to a listing, and then, oh my gosh, this is horrible, we don't like that this backs up to the highway. So I teach them how to do that. The other thing you can teach them to do is that Google Street View is automatically integrated into this map. So they can hit Google Street View, and now they can see from car level what do the neighbors look like, what does the street look like. You can also zoom in, and sometimes you can actually get into a backyard view by zooming in and out of an area and changing where you're at on the map.
So that's only in their portal though?
Their portal or your portal. I mean, you can do the same thing. Like if I'm just looking at an average listing, I can do the same thing. So this is the agent map. I can do the same thing. But what's nice about teaching them how to use this portal is that they use it. And they don't go to Zillow or Trulia or other unreliable sources to try to do their home searching. They'll be glued in because they don't have to leave your portal to do the street view. So if you teach them that all of that stuff is integrated in there, it's kind of nice. That way they just get addicted and they can stay right in your portal that you have set up and not go stray.
Can they search from your portal?
No, you
Okay,
can only
it's the
use.
stuff that you give them.
It's the stuff that you give them. Now, if you have emailed them something that isn't part of the search, so like this search that I set up, I think I did like 250 to 300, and let's say that I find this great property at 305, and I didn't want to just put their search up to 305 because they were really adamant about not going that high, but this is the perfect property, and I want to email it to them, so I can do that. Let's go find one. Okay, here it is. This one in Fishing River. Oh, it's the perfect property. I just know that Carolyn will love it. So I can email it to the client. Now, what the client is going to see is they're going to get an email into their just regular inbox. When they come to their email, it's going to take them to the Start tab, and right here is the email that I just sent. So see, it says check out this property on Fishing River. So that way, this house doesn't end up as part of the main portal, so it doesn't junk up their portal, but then they can look at it and then decide, yeah, you know what, she's right, this is the most perfect property for me. I want to take a chance, let's go see it. And that's where those things show up. So I just like to teach my client how to use this. Another really cool thing to do with your clients is to teach them how to mark them as favorites. So how you do that is they click the properties that they like, and they can add them to favorites down here, or to possibilities. They can just leave them in the mailbox unmarked, that's okay too. Or if they see one they really don't like, they can discard it. Sorry if that was anybody's listing. And once they discard it, they can still go back to the discard tab and see everything that was discarded. And if they decide they don't want it discarded, they can remove it. No big deal. So this is how I like to teach my tech-savvy clients how to do this. Is I want you to put every property you think you like in your possibilities folder. When we set an appointment to go look at properties, I want you to move the top 3 to 5, however many you're going to show them, into your favorites. Then I can look over your shoulder and see which ones are favorites, and that way you don't have to call me and say, okay, I want to see this MLS number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or give me the addresses, and then I have to do what? A search for those properties, right? If they're in the portal and they're marked as favorites, all I have to do is open up that search and results. And this is my view through my client's eyes. You can tell that because the client's name is right here and it shows me their favorites. All I have to do is sort them, get their favorites. Now I can print these out. I can schedule them online to go see the, I can do the showings online widget, which didn't print off. But I can schedule them out right here. I can do anything I want to do in my view, which is pretty cool. After we look at the property and they decide they don't like them, they delete them or unmark them as favorites, and then we start again. And when you get a client that will actually play the game like that, it makes your life a lot easier. Some people just won't do it. They just like to look at the properties and then they'll just email you, a bunch of numbers, and that's fine. But if they're into this, that's pretty cool. Now there is the ability to set up more than one search for the same client. And this is my best practice advice. Let's say I have a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage client between 150 and 200 in Liberty. How many houses would I get? Probably like 50, right? And or if they're open to the whole Northland especially. And I don't really like to set up a portal for a client unless they're a seasoned buyer to give them more than 20 to 25 choices. Otherwise it's too intimidating for them. So I like to narrow things down. And so how I might do that is by, hey, there's just a lot of 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage properties in this price point. What would be the next thing you would really want, in your home if you could get it? And they say, oh, we'd really like a finished basement, or we'd really like a 3rd-car garage, or we'd really like something, whatever it is. 4th bedroom. I can set up one search that has like right? That has that finished basement, or that 4th bedroom, the 3rd-car garage, but still keep the original search intact, eliminating the 4th bedroom, so 3 bedrooms only, let's say, and then a separate search for 4 bedrooms. If I do that, and I use the same contact name, which I have Carolyn's cart class, all of those properties are still going to filter into one portal. So to separate it, all you need to do is set up 2 contacts with the same email address. So if I add my first contact, Carolyn's 3-bedroom.
House stocking class featuring Janet Brooks will begin at 1 o'clock in the training room.
And now I'm going to set up a 4-bedroom at the same email address. That client will now have 2 separate portals when I assign those searches accordingly.
So will they come in 2 separate emails?
Yes, they will. So if I set up 3 bedrooms only, 2+ baths, 2+ garages, 120 to 150 in Clay County. That's still a lot, but we're gonna play along because I'm not in a hurry now. And I'm going to save that as a new auto email. Oh, it's part class. There's my part class portal from Carolyn's 3-bedroom search. And then I can save it. And then I can set up and did you guys know that this recent searches is here? So I can queue up that exact same search and change the criteria to 4 bedrooms plus. That way I split up the portal so that it's not like 500 properties, because they can only get so many anyway. And it's categorized for them. So what they're going to see and how I'm going to do that when I save this is I'm going to say your 4-bedroom search for today. And then on the other one, I'm going to say your 3-bedroom search for today. And now I'm going to have 2 different portals for that same client going to the same email address. And that way they'll see, oh, it's your 4-bedroom search, it's your 3-bedroom search, it's your Johnson County search, it's your Northland search, it's for whatever it is, the finished basement search. And if you kind of look through my contacts that I've created in my history, you're gonna see that I kind of have that going on. Like here's Heidi Anderson. She was a Brooksider that was also kind of open to the east side of Prairie Village. And so I set it up in 2 different portals for her, one on the Kansas side and one on the Missouri side. And so she had 2 portals. So all I have to do is just change her name. So it's not about the email address, it's just how you name the client. So I probably got somebody in here, like I've got Amanda Park, and here I've got Amanda Briarcliff. I also have Amanda Park Hill. I have Amanda something else, Prairie Village, and she was kind of open to like 3 different areas. So I just set up 3 different searches for her, so all the properties weren't coming into one portal. I just think it's kind of junky if your client can't keep it all straight, especially. So that's just kind of a nice way to do it, and they can all have the same email address. So like here's one with, you know, properties between 135th and 151st. This one's south of 151st. This is north of 135th.
Okay, let's say they buy a house and you want to make this stop.
Mm-hmm.
Do they stop it? Can you stop
They can,
it?
either way, they can stop it or you can stop it. So if I come in to their, I have to be in their auto email. Let's say I'm ready to get rid of Clarice's search. At any time I can go into the settings and I can come down and disable the search. She also has the same option in her portal. All right, I definitely want to talk about reverse match before we get kicked out. So how that works is you're going to go to My Listings. And once you get to My Listings, you're going to pick a listing. And then you're going to hit Reverse Prospect right down here at the bottom. Does everybody follow? Once you're here, this will give you a list of everyone that has a saved search that could meet your criteria. And you don't see the client name, you only see the actual agent. What's a pain right now is that you don't have a way to just email these people through the matrix system. You have to take it outside to eEdge or just to Google and type in these email addresses or copy and paste them in manually. So if you have an assistant, this would be a good assistant thing to do. If you don't, then it's kind of, you can copy and paste this into an Excel spreadsheet and kind of turn it into a little CSV file. You can do that. It depends on how many there are. With this particular listing, there's a lot. So I'd probably turn this into a CSV file and then upload that in the eEdge and group everybody as an agent and then pick them manually. If it's just a handful, I'd probably just go into MLS, queue up the listing and just manually type in the emails. But that's how you can do it. Better would be call them and say, hey, I have a listing. Even one step more would be get where these agents are actually officed out of and even mail them a postcard or a letter about the listing. It's a little slower, but it might have, it's like an 8x8, it's a multi-channel attack on the agents that might have buyers that fit their listings. It's a nice thing to be able to tell a seller, hey, look what I'm doing. Everybody that I think might have an interested buyer, I've called them, I've emailed them, I've sent them a note to let them know that your home is on the market, along with put it in MLS. Okay. Any questions about this? I know that this widget is going to get easier when they update, and I think it's going to allow you to email from the system. Is what I think it's going to do, but until I see it, I don't know that for sure.
When will that be open?
After Wednesday.
Yeah.
That's quick. Yeah.
Do you have time to tell us how to put something in a favorite? I can't figure it out on the dashboard.
Only the client can do that. What do you mean?
No, on my dashboard I have a favorite, but I can't never figure out how to put it in there. It's like a favorite search for me.
Oh, this?
Yeah.
So once you have a search set up and you result it, you're going to save it as a new save search.
Okay.
And then you're going to click this box that says enable it as a favorite on the home
Okay.
tab.
Thank you. That was easy.